Welcome to the Garza Gaming channel. Today I have a special video for you. I'm going to show you how I saved over $100 a month just by making one simple phone call. You know, as we all know, gaming could be expensive, and you can't game without internet. So a lot of people, have an internet service that they've had for many years. But what they don't understand is usually when they first get that internet service, they're usually on some special plan that after a year or two goes up in rates. Or they're in an area that just got established with internet service, and then as time goes on, that service goes down in price, yet you're still grandfathered into that really high cap, as I found out the hard way. Okay, so I'm going to share something with you here. This is Frontier. Frontier is the internet service provider that I have currently. In fact, they got the monopoly of where I lived. We actually built a house in Texas in a new development. And at the time, Verizon pretty much had owned Frontier and established fiber optic lines out here. So that was one of the big pushes I had for buying this property out here, for the simple fact it had fresh fiber laid down. But at that time, they didn't have more than 30 megabits to, I think, 50 megabits per second. And it was running me about $75 to $80 a month. As time went on, they actually started servicing this area with higher end fiber, and we were able to get 500 megabytes a second, or 500 megabits a second, for a ridiculous price of almost $200 a month. But hey, man, I was running servers out of the house. I'm an avid gamer. I had a gaming team in the house that's constantly either streaming or gaming. So I said, hey, bite the bullet, and that's why we go to work, right? That's why we make the big money, so we can play with the big toys. So I went ahead and I had the service for, heck, almost 3 or 4 years. Until one day I was sitting at the house, eating dinner, and I see this advertisement for Frontier, because Frontier ended up buying Verizon about a year or two after we moved in. So, long story short, I'm eating dinner and I see this commercial on TV. So, get 500 megabits per second for $39.95. Act now. And I'm like, hold up. Did you just say $39.95? I was like, oh, heck no. So let me show you what I was paying. This is what I was paying probably for the last 2 or 3 years. $191.70. Now that's after tax, service fees, and all the other add-ons they put on. $191. So now these people are advertising the same service for $39.99. Blew my mind. So what I ended up doing is I actually contacted Frontier. I gave them a call and I was like, hey, how is it that you're advertising the same service for $39.95 or $39.99, yet I'm having to spend $191.70 on this? So initially I was going back and forward with the representative on the line. This is what you needed to know. The first individuals in the customer service, when you call, whether it be internet providers, usually cable companies, or what have you, at least here in the United States, they have a script that they have to go by. And they have very limited powers. Usually, they're only allowed to maybe give you a $30 discount or a very small discount, if any at all, right? But what a lot of people end up doing is they get frustrated with this individual that they talk with, and then they just hang up, and you're stuck paying that same skyrocket price. Well, here's a secret. At least for this internet provider, they have what's called customer relations rep. So when if you call them up and for some reason you tell them, hey, look, I've been a customer with you, now you're advertising the same service at a fraction of what I'm paying. There's other internet providers that are providing the same service for a fraction of the price. Don't tell them that they don't service your area like me. I was stuck like Chuck. If they would have said, sorry, dude, it is what it is, I'd still be paying $191 a month. In fact, what I said is, you know what? Why don't you elevate me to your customer relations rep? Because a friend of mine told me that he used to work for Frontier, that they had what's called their customer relations reps. And what this rep is an escalation of customer service grievances, I guess you can call it for a better sense of the term. And what ends up happening is these guys have more power. So they're like an associate manager per se over, you know, the regular Joe Schmo that works at the customer service desk. So these guys have power to negotiate with you. So the guy I talked to was pretty cool. The whole thing took maybe like 5 minutes tops. I told him, hey, look, brother, I've been with you for the last 7 years, you know, before it was Verizon, gave him the whatever. I'm paying $101 and you guys are, you know, having the same service now for $39.95. And he was like, okay, so yeah, but that's for new subscribers. I was like, brother, you're about to have an old subscriber if you can't do something for me, because this is ridiculous. I mean, what, we're not paying for loyalty anymore. I'm supposed to jump to another service provider and then jump back? I mean, come on, work with me, dude. And the guy was pretty cool. So he crushed some numbers, you know, and he was like, yeah, you know, and he totally admitted it. He was like, yeah, you know, it's kind of a scam. Sometimes people, you know, they turn on all their bills, and then as time goes on, they don't, you know, come back and try to negotiate a better rate. And that's how a lot of these companies are raking you over the coals, man. So this is what I was paying, $191.70. Again, this is after taxes, service fees, or what have you. Okay, so this is what I'm paying now, $72.62. Now right here, you know, I talked to him in late September. I was already halfway through the month, so what they ended up doing is prorating me that next month. But I went from $191.70 to $72.62. Okay, so that is a difference of, bring our little trusty calculator up here. All right, so 191.70 minus 72.62 equals. So I increased my monthly income by $119.08. $119.08. Now, granted, that might not sound like a lot of money to a lot of people, but to me, that's a lot of money, man. That's a subscription to WoW. That's I mean, there's so many games I can buy with $119 a month. But look at this. Multiply that by 12. That's almost $1,500 a year that I was, you know, for the lack of a better term, pissing away to a company. $1,500. That's a freaking, you know, NVIDIA 2080 Ti and probably a processor. And that's definitely one of the, you know, you can get a pretty high-end processor, high-end machine for $1,500 a year. So, I mean, just food for thought. And that's pretty much it. You know, the whole moral of this story of this video is not how much I save, but the fact that is, you know, gaming gets expensive, and I understand that. But gaming is a way of bringing multinational. Gaming just crosses all borders. You know, with war in the world, discrimination, and everything else. You know, gaming is one of those things that anybody can do, and it builds friendships, it builds relationships. Okay. So, but it doesn't come cheap. It costs money to game. So, I mean, this is one way to maybe increase your monthly income. And for some reason, you know, you still live at home with your parents, you're younger, and your parents are the ones paying the bills. You know, make them an offer. Say, hey, Dad, Mom, if I can make you money a month, if I can cut how much you're paying in services a month, would you give me half of the difference? I'll do all the legwork, negotiation. I'll find a way to do it. But if I can find a way to cut any of our costs at the house by X amount of money, will you be willing to give me half the difference? Heck, it's a win-win. Your parents don't have to make the phone calls and talk to these people, or your brother, your sister, wherever. You know what I'm saying? And you get it in addition to your allowance, or maybe a new allowance if you don't get an allowance. But that's pretty much it. I don't want to babble on. So at the end of the day, if you're paying ridiculous amount of money for your internet, or if you haven't renegotiated your internet service in a long time, you might want to call your ISP up and say, hey, you know, what can you do for me? If this video was helpful, please subscribe and hit the notifications down at the bottom. And additionally, if you actually do negotiate some good terms and save you some money a month, let me know. Come back to this video and put it in the comments below. I'm pretty interested to see how many people actually will watch this video, take the information, and making some extra cash each month. And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video. So with that, this is Dark Garza, the OG on the GGC, saying see you next time.